You spent 30 years building real experience. You don't lack expertise. What you lack is a way to translate it into something someone else can use. That's exactly what this video fixes. You're not starting from zero, although it might feel that way sometimes, but you're not. What actually happens is this: you've solved a real problem so many times that it's become instinct. And instinct, it's hard to see as valuable because it doesn't feel like knowledge anymore. It just feels like you. The very thing that makes you good at what you do is the thing you've stopped noticing. I've spent 35 years in marketing and business building, corporate leadership, entrepreneurship, and travel. And across all of it, I've watched this same pattern play out. There was a point in my own career where I saw a structural problem before anyone else around me did. I was running a concierge franchise, and the franchisor kept steering the business toward the marketing agency approach for brands because that's where the money was. But that meant drifting away from the membership lifestyle side, which was the actual foundation the business was built on. I had seen enough business models by that point to recognize the difference between a temporary shift in strategy and a structural crack. So I made the decision to leave before the crack became obvious to everyone else. This is what happens when you've done real work for a long time. You start seeing things before they are obvious, and you stop realizing how rare that is. Here's the real problem, and it's not the one you think you have. You might think it's your age, or the technology, or the size of your audience, but the real problem is translation. Your experience has value, but it's sitting in your head in a form nobody else can use it yet. A course isn't something you invent from nothing. It's something you extract from work you've already done. You stop asking, "What do I create?" and start asking, "What have I already built?" Think about the questions that have followed you your entire career. The ones people bring you over and over in different rooms, different companies, different years. That repetition is a signal. What you kept explaining is what mattered most. In my own work, people would hand me a stack of customer comments and expect a summary. But the real work was interpretation, finding the psychology under the language and turning it into a strategy the brand could use. People thought they were asking for a summary. They were actually asking for someone to find what the words were hiding. Easy for you is often exactly what's hard for everyone else, and that gap is where a course lives. It is useful. Think about 3 or 4 things people have always come to you for, not your title, the actual problems they brought to you. A course isn't a collection of everything you know. It is the shortest path from where your student starts to where they need to end up. People don't pay for information, as they can find information anywhere. They actually pay for a specific problem solved, a clear result, and a shorter path than the one they had found on their own. So the course isn't a tour through everything you know. It's one transformation with a defined outcome your student can point to, a positioning statement they didn't have before, a client acquisition system that finally works. Or think about someone who spent years caring for their aging parents. The transformation isn't teaching everything about elder care. It's guiding someone through the first 90 days after a diagnosis, so they know exactly what decisions come first and what can wait. If you're thinking about your own course, it's worth asking where your student starts and where they end up. Even a rough answer tells you a lot. Your experience is broad. Your course has to be specific. A course for everyone reaches no one. A course for one person with one real problem is something they'll actually pay for. Think about someone with 30 years in sales leadership. If they tried to teach everything about sales, the message would land with no one. But if they focus on one thing, Helping a new sales manager run their first 90 days without losing the team's trust, that message lands hard because it's built for one person in one moment. So, who is your student? Not a demographic, a person. What they do, what they're stuck on, why they haven't solved it yet, and why it matters to them right now. The sharper you get here, the more the course feels like it was built for them, because it was. A module isn't a topic. A topic explains something. A module produces a result. A bad course is usually an expert emptying their brain into modules. A good course is guided change, one step at a time, each one producing something real. Go back to that new sales manager from a minute ago. Module 1. They diagnose the team they've inherited. Who's strong, who's struggling, and why. Module 2. They run their first round of one-on-ones and walk away with a real read on each person. Module 3. They set the operating rhythm, the meetings, the check-ins, the way information moves. Module 4. They handle their first real performance issue without losing the team's trust. By the end of Module 4, that sales manager has done something, not just learned something. That's the backbone of a course worth paying for. Before anything else gets built, put the whole thing in one page. Who it helps, what problem it solves, what result it promises, what steps get them there, what they have built by the end. If it fits on one page and every line is specific, the course is real. If it needs more than that to explain itself, it's still a thinking problem, not a building problem. The first version of this doesn't need to be complete or elegant or perfect. It just needs to be clear enough to test with one real person. So here's the whole thing in one breath. Find what you keep explaining. Shape it into one transformation. Build it for one specific person. Turn each step into a milestone they can actually complete. Then put the whole thing on one page. That is it. Not bigger, just clearer. Here's what you can do this week. Take one page and write 4 lines. People come to me when they need help with this. They're usually stuck because of this. By the end, I can help them do this. And the first 3 steps to get them there are these. That's not the whole course, but it's the start of it, on paper, in your own words. Your experience already did the hard part. It solved real problems for real people over a long time. The only thing left is translation. If you want help actually building this instead of figuring it out alone, that's exactly what the Rewired Life community is for. Real people going through the same thing, at the same stage, doing this work together. The link is in the description. I'll see you in the next one.